Esports. There's so much to break down because
to the
High
Reload
Ground,
Elite Series.
Game number one
crazy.
starts with a
I'd love to take a look
Josh
at
and
the standings,
Yamzo come out with a victory
Josh
rolling
and
out
Yamzo
to
are
start
currently in first
things
place.
off.
But as we mentioned
Oh
right
my
before the
goodness.
break,
There's so much
that
to
means
break
they've already
down because
qualified.
High
So now that
Ground,
top two
becomes
was
a top
just
three.
crazy.
If we stop
I'd
the
love to take a
competition
look
right
at the
now,
standings though,
this
because
would be
after that
the top
victory
three
out
to
Josh
move
and
on, but obviously 7 more games to go. Acorn and
go.
Bolts here. Acorn and Bolts here.
Wow. They are looking to earn themselves.
They are
that
looking
qualifying
to earn
spot.
themselves
63
that qualifying
points
spot
out of the
63
duo.
points out
Now,
of the
obviously,
duo.
at third place.
Now, obviously, at third place
is pretty
Six
good,
Elams
right?
Is
but
pretty good.
You know,
right?
Vivid,
But
if we keep this
Vivid,
consistency
if we
throughout
keep
the
this
next 7 games, I feel like this is an easy qual.
I feel like this is an easy
Yeah, I mean,
qual, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
The duo's already looking good, and surprisingly enough, kind of going up for the higher ground. You can see this is kind of when the mess started. We did see Queasy and Scare have a pretty solid foothold on it for the beginning of the moving zones, but as soon as it kind of entered that 11 zone is where all the duos started to go up for it. And Acorn and Bolts after that, even though they did, kind of lose the high ground that they went ahead and secured, they did have to drop down and eventually did go down and get 1v2 there by Yamza. But you can't even blame the guys. Yamza was kind of on one that game.
Yeah, and we talked about, are these players feeling the pressure today? And we said no. And Acorn and Bolts are showing that they have something to prove. They had a crazy qualifier 1, struggled in qual 2 and 3, and they're here in qualifier 4, showing up in game number 1, showing the potential that they have.
I loved seeing Higgs and Curve there in that first game as well, right? Super low front side of zone, keep pushing on, they're really trying to make a name for themselves here. And that was a pretty strong first game, right? It was a top 10 and 7th place with 6 eliminations again, right? So though this is just game number 1, I have to believe we're just going to keep this pace going, right, Viv? I just have to believe this is Higgs, this is Curve, we can qual.
Yeah, a lot of the times I like to favor some of the teams that do play these, kind of like front low or like low ground positions. Obviously, it is still being fought for. Like, we have some big name duos down there. Obviously, we're going to see like Cold and Rapid start to fight for that as well. But, the fact that we did just kind of talk about how chaotic high ground kind of looked, and the fact that Higgs and Curves are a duo that kind of are going to be playing that low to mid ground layers, and they're already doing pretty well. I feel like I would favor this though just a little bit more than maybe I initially did, just because of how scary high ground looks.
Yeah, and I think we got to give credit. They only got 7th place, but 7th place is final moving zone, because we saw that final zone close and there were still top 10 teams. So getting that consistency in game number 1 is a great start for them. And if they keep it up, they're going to be on their way to the Esports World Cup.
Woo! And I obviously want to top my hat to Noisy and Neo in that game. 2nd place with 9 eliminations.
Yeah. Wow.
Man, I'd love to continue breaking this down, but I'm getting word. Games are ready. We're jumping right back into the action. So casters, take it away.
Honestly, that was a good game number 1, Monster. Yamzo and Josh really setting the tone and the pace, contesting that high ground late in the game. But as you know, in an 8-game tournament series, it's the second half where things start to ramp up in terms of pressure. So let's just get right into game 2 and keep it going.
Yeah, I tend to forget how fast these games pick up and then close, and that's why we have 8 rounds of this ahead of us. This time, though, Higgs gets the touch base. Last game, he's saying, hey, Monster, give us a little second. Let me get down and situated. This time, he takes out threats pretty quickly, but Agers is here as well, so a lot of I guess influence here at the drop. Agers is going to find himself elimination. Curve has to play very smart here. Little does he know, Agers has got no backup, but better safe than sorry here. Talk about quite the mix-up as this all just went down that fast.
I thought it was just gonna be double contested over at Hostile Hold. You got Dozier's team, you got along with Tyler, you got Higgs and Curve who kind of split off, and then you have Muzz. Muzz and Sphinx are literally on 2 different points of the map as of now, but Muzz already has a spot secured. Knows waiting until the last second to get eliminations can be good. You can make a run, but why not build yourself a cushion early? Already with this 1 elimination, Muzz is affecting the whole other side of the map. The big thing though, does Acorn and Bolts notice that Sphinx might be a solo?
I think this is really interesting from Muzz's side too, if you think about it, because all the commentary we provided game 1 for Muzz and Sphinx was, hey, they're qualified, they're playing very passive, it looks like they just want a shot at the money, right? But this is like a completely different tune here, and I think they recognize that as well, like you mentioned. But look at this for Bolts and Acorn finding that early elimination here onto Salt. It's gonna be a nice pickup too, considering Salt and his teammate made it very far into last game, and they were playing pretty much Spoiler for some. Back over to Muzz, just fighting with no fear here. And he is actually popping off, claiming body after body. This is a big pickup, though. That's onto the likes of Scare. Obviously, Queasy's duo here, so Muzz has got to be careful. There could be danger nearby.
Yeah, this is, I feel like from what we've seen, it could be more. We've already seen at least 25% of the lobby land separate from their actual teammate in a way to try to get eliminations. And if you imagine, Agers was already in the feed taking down threats, so Muzz has some sort of a clue if he remembers that Ritual might be by himself. I saw in the feed that Poyo already got elimination onto Salt, so Enough might be by himself, and now he's taking a 2v1 against Pete and Poyo. I do believe he lasted long enough to get his teammate back in the game. Yes, he did, but he's gonna fall, and now